learn from people who have done things that maybe we haven't done yet. And so, what I always recommend is choosing one or two people that you really resonate with right now and just exclusively focusing on absorbing content from them. If that's their free content, like webinars or lives like this one, or if that is paid content, even better when you can invest in a program, because when you invest, you tend to be more invested. If you haven't noticed that, if you pay something, whether that's 100, 1,000, or $10,000 to do something, the level to which you invest is usually the level to which you are invested in doing that course. And so whatever you decide to do there, free content, paid investment and working with people, is really to streamline and choose one or two people that you're going to learn from for a while, that you have a strong feeling they have the medicine you need, so to speak, and really absorb from them and take a break from the rest. I call this a course cleanse. So that's one way to start to eliminate distractions as well and take some stuff off of your plate. Paula says, I had a downturn during COVID. I took on a contract with another consulting firm to help them, and the learning curve has been overwhelming. Coupled with working remotely, I'm losing my momentum. So sorry to hear that, Paula. So what kind of consulting are you doing? I guess would be my first question. And when you say I'm losing my momentum, do you mean because you're focused on this one contract, you're losing momentum in your main business? Just tell me a little bit more. I'll do my best to kind of coach around this. And then, so the overwhelm is around having too much to do with your time, or it's because your business has slowed down. Let me know there. Portia says, yes, relatable information overload. Yeah. So again, pick, and I hope I'm one of them, but if I'm not, that's perfectly okay. But whoever it is, again, focus and choose instead of being pulled in a million different directions. So in terms of removing distractions, only you know what those are for you, but I want you to really take an inventory. Maybe you focus, or maybe you pay attention for the next few days and go, what are those little sort of time wasting things that I'm doing that aren't the best use of my time? And a lot of times people say, well, I have to do all of this stuff. And I say, well, what can you eliminate till later? What really doesn't have to get done right now that isn't really moving the needle towards your main goals, right? Or what, and by the way, the seasons and cycles also works in your personal life. So my favorite thing to do, this is a little tip, is I actually tend to pick one business focus and one personal focus in any given season. So I don't know, I might in business be focused on a particular program I'm launching, or I might be really focused on just a numbers goal or a game in my business. And then in my personal life, I usually pick one area. So it might be in one season, it might be nutrition. In one season, it might be really connecting with friends and being more in friendship and community. Another season, it might be working out. Because here's what I find is that when we focus on one area in business and one area in personal as our main focus, it helps us prioritize. It helps us know where to put our energy instead of just trying to do everything all the time. And then something interesting happens that you can sort of, after a while, you have momentum, right? Paula used that word, momentum, momentum in a certain area, and then it can go on what I call maintenance mode. So, for example, my nutrition and like supplementation and all that kind of stuff, I've been working on that for about a year now, over a year, almost a year and a half. So it's really on maintenance mode. I'm in the groove with taking my supplements. I've done all the health testing. I've worked with, a holistic nutritionist and doctor. And so I have that pretty dialed in. It's not that I'm eating perfectly all the time, but I'm in a good rhythm there. So now I'm in a phase around exercise where I'm really getting into a rhythm with exercise because nutrition can go more in maintenance mode. You guys get the idea there? So really looking to see what is your main focus, one in business and one in personal. And if you're in the early stages of business, or if your business doesn't already have a lot of momentum, then in your business it's going to have to be around creating results, right? Creating numbers, because that's what we need to be a successful, sustainable business. Okay, so Paula, I help home health agencies streamline business systems and stay compliant with regulations. Doubled my client base with the new work, full of additional tasks. So it sounds like, Paula, really not, you said losing my momentum. So it's not like the business isn't doing well. It sounds like personally or like energy wise momentum. Is that what you're struggling with? Because you said you doubled your client base, so that's great, but it's been overwhelming in terms of there's so much going on. So, Paula, it sounds to me like you're at a stage where support is going to be a really big piece. So, I don't know if you've already gotten support or not. But I would really, in terms of your vision for next year, we'll talk about vision in just a moment, really be starting to envision what kind of support can you be getting. And by the way, you guys, support doesn't have to start in your business. It could start in your personal life. That's almost always where I've begun in the past. When I've started to get really busy, I look to my personal life first and go, what can I delegate? Right? So hiring a maid, at times in the past, I don't do it currently, but at times in the past, I've hired someone to come in and meal prep, or I've done one of those meal delivery services. Um, really looking and seeing errands, like hiring someone 5 hours a week to come in and paying them $20 an hour to come in and run some errands and help me with things around the house so that I can free myself up if I'm in a business stage, which it sounds like you are, Paula, and that's great that you're getting these amazing results, then freeing yourself up in such a way that you can focus on the work. And then it's to go, great, now within the work, how do I start to get some support? There's, virtual assistance, there's in-person assistance, there's other types of support that you can be getting. So I think that's part of the vision for you then, Paula, is to really start to see what would that support be. And, when you get support, it doesn't always feel like it's taking stuff off your plate at first. Sometimes it might feel like it's more work because you have to train someone. But in the end, in time, it will absolutely, if you approach it right and how you train them, I've learned a lot about this in the last few years and really stepping into being a CEO, running a team, learning how to delegate, learning how to, train and make sure there's procedures and all these kinds of things so that it really actually frees you up and doesn't just feel like more to do. Yes, Paula, awesome. Okay, so focusing on what's most important. So we talked about removing distractions. We've talked about, a little bit about seasons and cycles, getting support. So focusing on what's most important, in my experience, starts with having a really clear vision. Okay? Because like you, Paula, for example, and any of you watching, if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling exhausted, you feel like you're losing a little bit of that spark and that energy that drives you and your business forward. First of all, remember, if you're a solopreneur or a small, only have a couple people on your team, you are the battery pack of your business. It's all about like your energy, your vitality, your vision, and your inspiration. You guys get that? So go ahead and rate yourself right now on a scale of 0 to 100. How's your battery doing? How's your battery doing? Not just in terms of energy, but in terms of vision and inspiration for your business. Go ahead and type in the chat on a scale of 0 to 100. How's that battery doing right now? Take a sip of my coffee. Paula, you're a 4 on a scale of 0 to 100, or is it a scale of 1 to 10? I hope it's not a 4 on 0 to 100. Crystal says 75. Who else? So 75 is pretty good. Some room for even better, but okay. So Paula's around 40% then. So that's a big one then, Paula, is really to see for you and anybody that's, especially if you're below 50, 60, 70%, then you really want to look and see, like, what do you need to recharge your batteries, right? It might be as simple as a break, like really during the holiday season, taking some time off. But in my experience too, it really has to do with the vision. So this is where we get into the part of like freedom and fun and what do you want your life to be like next year? And sometimes when you're in the middle of the go, 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 there's so much going on, you're in a really busy season, it can be hard to see that. And it can be hard to feel what that would be like. You feel like you're treading water and just trying to keep your head above water, right? Even if things are going well, like in Paula's case, she's got lots of clients, a lot of things working, but like it's taking a lot, it sounds like, to just keep going because there's so much going on. And some of you might be in the place where that's not the case. You don't even have the clients yet. And so you're struggling to kind of move that forward. And so I want you to really take an inventory of, what do you need to recharge your batteries? And I would say there might be for some of you an element of rest And that can be as simple as like a weekend for some people, but really a weekend unplugged. Like turn off your phone, turn off your email, don't look at any of that. Whatever recharges your battery. If you need to go get in nature, if you need to get with friends, if you need time alone, I sit down and read. I read for days this last week with the holiday because that's how I unwind is I have great fiction fantasy books and I just disappear in my books for days and I feel so energized and recharged now coming back into this week. So what is that for you? How are you going to recharge your batteries? And then the next part is to, let me see, recharge your batteries. Oh, vision. So vision is the other piece. And a lot of times people, I don't know, I think people confuse vision and like goal setting. They're like, yeah, I have my goals. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go for it. Right. And I'm like, that's great, but do you have the energy and the inspiration? And is it pulling you forward or are you trying to push? Right? Are you pushing or is your vision pulling you? Make that distinction right now and type in the chat, pull or push. Are you pushing right now with your energy, trying to get things done, get to where you want to go, move the next things forward? Or do you have a vision that is pulling you like you're so clear, you're so excited, you're so lit up about it that it feeds you with energy? Go ahead and write in the chat, pull or push. Gabrielle says, I need 6 months in the jungle to be all right. That's a lot. Yeah. But the interesting thing is a lot of times people think that, and then the reality is that it doesn't take as long as they think, right? Maybe you do need a month or 2 weeks or something like that. I took a sabbatical in 2020 when COVID hit. I took 3 weeks off and it was amazing. 3 weeks, that was like a lifetime. I felt like a completely different person because I used that time strategically, not to think and get a bunch of, but to completely unplug again, to relax, to reset, to read, to take long baths, to take walks in nature. And it was amazing in 3 weeks how recharged I was. So often when I hear that from people that they think they need so much time, it may be true, but often that's not true. Because what happens if we disconnect for that long is we actually go sometimes too much into flow mode, and then it's really hard to get back into the go that we need to move things forward in business. And so there's this kind of dance between the two energies that I talk about a lot of the time. And so it's finding that dance for yourself, time off to recharge, but also coming back and staying in some of the go to be able to move your visions and your dreams forward. So Crystal says she's being pulled. That's awesome. Paula said she is pushing. Yeah, so with your vision, it's really to look at the year ahead and go, what do you want? Like a year from now, what do you want your life and business and everything to be like? And how do you want to be spending your time? And a lot of times we talk too about how do you want to feel? And who is the person you want to be? So I'm saying a lot of questions quickly here, but these are the kinds of questions to begin with, as opposed to like, what kind of numbers, what kind of goals, right? I call this a more feminine approach to visioning rather than maybe the more masculine goal setting approach. So we are hosting a vision workshop, actually. It's on December 15th. It's 2 hours. And we're calling it a workshop/party because we're gonna toast with your favorite sparkling beverage. You can bring it with you, and you're gonna dress up for the online party as the person you want to be in 2023. And we will do this 2 hour guided experience with you and with many other people from around the world, and guide you through this kind of visioning process where it is more of the feminine, it is more of the pull, it is more of the how do you want to feel and spend your time. And really, this vision process is powerful. When I first did it in 2013, I think, it truly changed my life. I did it at the beginning of the year, saw a vision for what I wanted at the end of the year, and I still get chills talking about it. So much changed for me in that year because I had that as a guiding light throughout the year, and I saw what I wanted. And that was the first year I hit 6 figures in my business, and that was the year that I attracted this incredible community around me when I had no friends before. And it was just this huge pivotal turning point year. And so this process is so powerful. We're so excited to share it with you. So it's a 2-hour workshop. I think it's $25 for the tickets, super reasonable. If you're curious about it, just type vision in the chat. And make sure that you were friends on Facebook, because if you type vision and I try to message you and we're not friends, I won't be able to message you. So if any of you are curious to attend that, it's an amazing workshop. We do some version of it every year now. And it's Thursday, December 15th. So really to set the tone for your year and have you have that space and that time to get clarity. So again, make sure you friend requested me or that we're friends or we're already messaging if you type vision in the chat. And you can also just message me directly if you're watching the replay. So once you know your vision, something that's pulling you forward, then you need your roadmap. So then we can get more specific and measurable. What are the goals you want to create next year? And how are you going to get those results? Now, you might be going, why are we talking about all this when I thought this was about freedom and fun? Because in order to create that freedom and fun and still get results, we need to, again, know their seasons and cycles, know which cycle you're in, remove distractions like we talked about before, and then have that energy, that battery pack, getting the rest that you need and whatever unwinds you, and then having your clear vision and roadmap. Because the biggest thing that I see gets in the way of the freedom and fun that people want in their businesses is that they're just pulled in too many different directions, right? We all have the same amount of time in the day. And so if you're pulled a million different ways, then of course you're not going to be having that freedom and fun. Now, there are more time management type things that we can talk about. I'm not going to go super detailed into those today, but things like time blocking or theming your days is another great one, because then you're not booking calls all over the place and booking appointments all over the place. It's really being strategic. The thing is, it's like, I think the biggest thing in creating more freedom and fun while also getting results in your business, the biggest thing is, rather than being in reaction, is putting simple systems in place. Simple systems in place. We always say systems create freedom. Systems create freedom. You guys get that? People go, well, that doesn't sound fun. Systems don't sound like fun. That sounds boring. That sounds like structure. It sounds like it's going to try to like stamp out my creative flow. And I say, no, not at all. Do you feel creative when you're overwhelmed and pulled in a million different directions? Do you feel truly in flow that way? Yeah, of course, you have more flow in one way, but you probably feel more stressed, more overwhelmed. Does anybody relate to that? If so, type I relate in the chat. So when we say systems, what we mean is simple things that you put in place in your life that you are directing the flow of energy. Yeah, that you have, themes for your days, let's say, and you're not running around a million different places, that you are focused on the one or two coaches that you, or role models that you want to learn from and work with, and you're not doing a million different programs. So this is about the way we use our energy and attention. And in that creates the ability for more freedom and fun, right? Because you're being strategic in a way that, not that it's stamping out your creativity. It's like, no, I have certain things in place in my life. Saturdays are my day with my husband, and we leave it completely open and we don't check our phones, and we have this certain kind of rhythm with our weekends. Now, of course, that doesn't happen 100% of the time, but that is one of the systems that we've put in place to ensure that we get that quality time, that we're relaxing, fully unplugging every week. And then I have other things, of course, throughout my weeks. For me, my Mondays are team days and also doing these lives. I have coaching on certain days. I have deep work days where I really focus. So there's a lot we could talk about in terms of time management. I don't want to get too much into that right now. So I'm curious questions right now. So a lot of you talked about overwhelm is the biggest challenge for you. And the other thing to know is that overwhelm is an emotional state. It's an emotional state. We think it's about how much we have to do, and that is also true sometimes. It is about that, and that's where we need to eliminate certain things, get support, see how to structure things, and often we can't see those things for ourselves, right? We we are inside of our lives and it looks like it's like being inside of the box and the instructions are written on the outside. This is why hiring coaches or getting support is so helpful, because there's someone with an outside perspective that can look at your life and go, oh, here's a way to approach that, right? So what did I want to say about that? So, in terms of your flow of your week, yeah, overwhelm is an emotional state. So, apart from having a lot to do, overwhelm is often because it's like a reaction to something, or it is your pattern. We talk a lot about patterns of overwhelm, shiny object syndrome, procrastination, confusion, self-doubt. These are emotional states that we go into, and they are often the way that our unconscious mind takes us out of the game. All right. So I know I'm getting a little bit into other territory here, but just interesting to start to notice, overwhelm is partially about what you have to do, and it's partially an emotional state. Just like burnout, which some of you, I don't know if anyone here relates to burnout either now or in the past, but that was a big part of my story. And I always say burnout isn't just physical exhaustion, it's exhaustion of the soul. Burnout isn't just physical exhaustion, it's exhaustion of the soul. Something isn't fully aligned. If you're burning out, it means something in your business model or what you're doing or something in your life or business is out of alignment. And so your soul is literally trying to get your attention with that burnout. You get that? Or with the overwhelm. So sometimes these things are your soul trying to get your attention to say something needs to change. And sometimes, like if it's self-doubt or procrastination, sometimes it's a way of your mind trying to distract you. This is also with the shiny object syndrome of doing a million different courses or a million different things. Often what I find is underneath that for people is fear. If you're in that boat of like you're in the earlier stages of your business or you want to go to that next stage of business and you find that you're getting like distracted and pulled in a million different directions, or you're like doing busy work that's not really moving your business forward, do a little check right now and go, is there any fear or self-doubt? Like, is there any fear about stretching myself and doing what it takes to get to the next level? And often people don't think so at first, but when they dig a little bit deeper, they go, oh, yeah, wait a second. I'm scared to get on sales calls, or I'm worried people are going to judge me, or I'm, fill in the blank. So that's a lot of different things. I feel like this was a very all over the place live today, but I think there was a lot of good stuff in here. So I'm curious, what was your biggest takeaway? Also, are there any questions in these last few minutes? Any questions, anything I didn't touch on? And then just let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from today? And while you guys are typing that in the chat, just for anyone who wasn't here a few minutes ago when I shared this, we do have a vision workshop coming up. Vision, like I said, is a huge part of moving through the overwhelm and really creating that vision for also the fun and the freedom you want to be having in your business. What's the lifestyle you want to have, right? That you're building your business around the lifestyle you want instead of the other way around, your lifestyle around your business. So if you're curious about that workshop, it's 2 hours, it's $25. Just type vision in the chat. Make sure that we're friends on Facebook so that I can message you, or that you send me a direct message and we'll get you that information. Paula says, this is great. Felt so seen and heard. Awesome, Paula. Thanks so much for being here. Anyone else? Biggest takeaways, ahas, questions before we wrap for today? And next week, I'm going to be coming to you guys on a different day and time because I'm actually traveling on Monday. So go ahead and mark your calendars for Tuesday, December 6th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you convert that to your time zone. By the way, if you don't have our add event link, we have a link where you can like add our lives to your calendar, and it should give you like the updated dates whenever I move them. So if you want that link, type add event in the chat and make sure we're friends on Facebook so I can send you a message to get that link. Next week, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a case study interview. So one of my clients, her name is Lisa, and it's about how she went from having panic attacks and making about 90K a year when we started working together at the end of next year, to now, just a year later, she's surpassed 140K for this year. 140,000. She has so much more energy, joy. She hasn't had an anxiety attack in months and months and months. Literally her whole life has changed. And so I want her to share what is it that she did that made the biggest difference to have that income jump, but not only the income jump, but so much more fun, so much more relaxation. So really kind of almost showing you guys what we're talking about today brought to life. So we'll be doing that next week on Tuesday, 2 p.m. And I would love to see you all there, 2 p.m. Central Time. Patrick says, takeaways starting with vision, focusing on less rather than too much at once. Awesome, Patrick. Thank you for sharing that. That really means a lot. Paula will send you that ad event link as well as the vision event. Thank you all for being here. Happy holidays again. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.